Hello and welcome, everyone. Oh, today, what a show we're going to have. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday with the 2 Tuesday portal, right? Did anyone ever realize that it was actually a Tuesday also? And I guess it will not happen. The 2's will not happen on a Tuesday again like this for another 200 years. So, you guys, this is our chance to really step into who we are, why we're here, and to really create that new world that we truly desire without any other expectations or anything just coming through. This is your time to create that world. And you get to create that world no matter how it looks to you. That's the thing. Everyone's world is going to be different. And that's okay. So I have Sherry joining me today. She has not been on for a while. Hi, welcome, Sherry. How are you this morning?
Pretty good, thanks.
Oh, just remind everyone who you are and how they can find you.
Certainly. Sherry Huss. The easiest way to find me is Spirit Closure with Sherry on Facebook. And I'm a psychic medium, and I do like card readings and other things.
All right, awesome. And I am Majestic Michelle, and the easiest way to get a hold of me is probably through my YouTube channel, Healing with Michelle, or Majestic Michelle, or my Facebook, Healing with Michelle Adams. And then my website, healingwithmichelleadams.com. So today, did you feel the energy yesterday at all, Sherry?
I did a couple times. I was working a very long day, but I felt it in the morning, and then I felt it right after I got off work real strong. Yeah.
I had to connect to the second chakra many times yesterday, a lot more than normal. And it wasn't a crazy, hectic day at all. It was just like, oh, I'm kind of feeling that energy and I got to reconnect. And so it was just a really interesting day altogether yesterday with that energy coming through. So, what is your take on when we have portals that open up and stuff like that?
My take is that it's just the universe. It's kind of like a power boost for those of people that like to play video games. It just feels that way. There's increased energy downloads. A lot of times, it's a time for manifesting the stuff you've been hustling towards or working towards. And some portals, it seems like, are times to ask for like big miracles too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I've noticed that people like when they see these portals and other things happen like energy, they expect these great, majestic things to happen. When in reality, there's no timeline to when you need to accomplish things.
Right.
And so the universe is like going, no, we're just going to go slowly because there is no timeline. You don't have to have these huge, majestic things happen to go, ooh, I'm awake, here I am, type things. It can be this slowly, everyday process that as long as you're taking one step towards your goal, it will happen. And when these portals open, to me, it's like more of on whether or not we want to step into it or we don't want to step into it.
Right.
And there's some people who aren't even like energetically aware that it's really happening. So they may step into it without even realizing it, and they may not step into it without realizing it. And so remember, when we don't make a choice, we still kind of make a choice.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the universe just says, hey, you're stepping in, whether because you're ready.
Yeah. It feels like it's just a big opportunity to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it kind of is what you make of it.
Right. So it's kind of like, because people are like going, oh, karma's all going away. And it's like going, well, you do know karma's neutral, right? If it goes away, then the good stuff goes away too. So it's like, when you really don't want karma to go away, you just want to neutralize it. So that way, when you're putting the good stuff out there, that's what you're getting back more of.
Mm-hmm.
versus the negative stuff. And so karma, it's like, because I was listening to a post this morning about the 222 and how karma's neutralizing and it's wiping things out, and it's like going, but karma's already neutral. It doesn't care. So, I mean, if you're going to continue to put out that negative stuff, you're going to continue getting that negative stuff back. So, if you want this portal to really work on your behalf, then it is time to make that shift into that love and light,
Mm-hmm.
and start to choose to do more benefits for other people versus harm.
Right. I did a reading last night on my, whatever that is, on my page, I guess. And it brought up the fact that it's a good time to respect money, and when you do so, it respects you, kind of a thing. And then the other miracle mindset card came up was I surrender all. And so for me, that's what it felt like, was a chance to resurrender that power, control, that control, whatever. Um, because sometimes I feel like we hustle, we focus so much on running after what we want, we forget that some stuff just comes to us naturally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. So for me, it was a good reminder of that.
And then going into March, we don't have any planets in retrograde, do we?
No, not until April 28th, I believe.
So yeah, it's a good time where that means, like, from what I've gathered, the energy should be moving very quickly
Mm-hmm.
during this time because all the planets are forward, they're all moving in the same direction. So therefore, we're just going to continue to move in that forward direction,
Right.
without having to really take a step and a look back of anything that we're doing. So it's also really another important time to make sure that what you're doing is benefiting yourself and others, because when a planet starts to move backwards again, you really don't want to be forced to stop to look at the last 30 plus days of what you've been doing.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of that's the way I look at it, because when those planets start to move back, they force us to look.
Yeah.
And if we're not benefiting ourselves and others, then the shock we might get might be very huge eye opener, or it might even frustrate us even more to continue doing what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because sometimes people get into that frustrating state that they just don't want to change because they don't know how to make that change anymore.
Yeah. I think I kind of look at it as the universe gives you that chance to kind of show us the areas we need to work on. And once again, I look at retrogrades as well as portals as an opportunity to kind of change what you're doing or improve on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just like, the comment we got, and like, we should be putting good into our world every single day.
Yeah.
And not just during enlightened, periods of positive time, because we never know when the planets go back to force us to look at things.
It's true.
It's like going, and I kind of live with the philosophy that you want to leave something better than what you got it as.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Because that way everything and everyone knows that they're valued. And you just always know that you're doing good. But I know yesterday the intense energy was quite interesting, because with this right here, the Aries of Aquarius has started fully with the February portals, because we had the two portal at the beginning of the month, and then we had it again yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And each portal is open for like 2 to 3 days period, so it's like a day before, the day of, and the day after, to kind of fully complete that circle.
Right.
So the portal is still open if anyone needs to, gain access and to go, oh, let's look at this portal and see what it's more really doing and about.
Mm-hmm.
So that way there we can gain full knowledge of the compassion for the age of Aquarius, the love, the 5D, which I find it's kind of interesting that everyone's like, the 3D, 4D, 5D. And truthfully, most people don't even realize they're in one or the other until they start to move, have a different mental concept of how things are done,
Mm-hmm.
or see it on a completely different level. Or they have more compassion for other people who are going through things.
Yeah.
I think that's how you can really tell if you're moving into 4 and 5D is the amount of compassion you have for other people.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It seems like that space doesn't allow for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because as you're going into and you're moving up and you're having more of that compassion, and you're in that 4 or 5D because you've been working through your own stuff and now you can actually see your stuff and somebody else's, you have compassion more for why they're going through or doing what they're doing, to be able to go, I'm okay with you doing that as long as it's not affecting me.
Mm-hmm.
And when we move into those different dimensions, that's really the state of mind we're probably going into more of a reality. Is that we understand, hey, they're where they're at, as long as they're not hurting anybody, they're okay being there.
Yeah. I think we realized too that we're all on our own journeys. Even though there's billions of people around us, we're still kind of alone on that journey. Like it's ours alone to travel. Um, and so when you come to that realization, it feels like you can have that compassion for others,
Mm-hmm.
realizing that this is their journey, not mine. It's going to look different. It's going to sound different. You know, the whole bit, and they're in a different location on that journey than I am as well. So you could be ahead or behind, and I think it's important to remember that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And it seems to me like those portals once again is like a power boost to kind of get you moving to where you want to be.
I like that concept.
Yeah, it's the one that
Give you
makes the
that.
most sense to me anyway. Yeah.
We're just going to refer to everything as a video games from now on, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
the last 20 years have been like Mario Kart with my kids, and so yeah, yeah.
so was there a lot of crashes in that Mario Kart?
Only when I played. Yeah.
Awesome. So, not a very good video game player, huh?
No, I'm terrible. Yeah, terrible, terrible. Reality is bad enough for me to deal with, let alone all the other stuff. So,
Right?
yeah,
I mean, I can get lost into video games pretty easy.
yeah.
But it's like, reality is pretty big, intense one already. So,
No kidding.
don't need to get lost in video games, and you can get lost in life just as easy.
For sure. Yeah. I'm with you. I got up this morning and did a quick 5 to 7 a.m. um uh shift. So I'm a little blurry-eyed. Sorry.
Nope, you're fine. I've already been up and did my group session today and
Oh, good.
went to do some storage unit stuff for where the place I'm working at. And I don't know why it keeps on cutting out with this computer.
Darn it.
I know, just every once in a while it decides to black me out.
I have a question about this portal stuff, ma'am.
Yes.
Have you realized that so many people I don't know, it's almost like it's magical thinking. And I don't mean magical as in literal magic, but it's almost God, how can I say it? They say it in terms that are almost too magical for human thinking. Instead of breaking it down into components they can really utilize and understand and
Mhm.
work with, they just put it out there with some kind of abstract concept so that they don't have to take the responsibility for it. Does
Mhm.
that make sense what I'm trying to
It
say?
does. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen a few posts like that, even with other things too, and I'm like going, "You guys really? Can we break this down into simpler terms for people? Because this is like you're giving them this grand illusion that, oh my gosh, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be wearing all these riches and whatever you've ever wanted is gonna be there,
Yeah.
and people are just gonna treat you magically and wonderfully, and from the moment you wake up with this whatever's going on, like, and they do it with all kinds of different energies. I've seen it with portals and other stuff too, and I was like, going, can we come back down to reality?
That's a good way of putting it, because I know yesterday when the portal happened, when I finally was slowed down enough to acknowledge it properly, I mean, it was always in the little Rolodex of my brain, but when I actually had time to just go on and do a live, that's when the energy hit full force. And for me, I was getting downloads.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't winning Powerball numbers, although that would have been wonderful. And it
Right?
wasn't, yeah, like my mortgage wasn't paid off and I wasn't a superstar. I wasn't a model, all those crazy things that people think are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up this morning, had to go to work. Um, but I also feel like there's a little bit of hope there where there wasn't before. Well, I mean, there was, but it adds another layer to it. I mean, I'm like,
Yes.
wow, all the planets are lining, are all in agreement. Um, and now is just the time to shine. I mean, it feels as if I could go to work in my new job and really try hard and actually get those efforts rewarded, I guess is what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of thinking that it's all going to come to me without doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully people aren't sitting there waiting for good things to happen. Hopefully they're just kind of stepping into their own power and their own energy, and showing up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think
Because
that's
even
what's
when these,
required.
it is, because even when these portals or these energies come through, if we're not doing the work, it's still not going to show up.
Right.
And I think that's where people get this misillusion. And then they get frustrated and irritated that this whole entire grand thing didn't show up.
Yeah,
When, okay, it's up to you to put that work in every single day.
for sure.
So when the power boost does show up, it can power you into like, oh yeah, this has been, and maybe help you see it a little bit easier
Right.
versus, um, it just passing you by.
Yeah. I see it with a lot of the people that are really big into manifestation. Not that that's a bad thing at all. It's just that sometimes we get caught up in what's meant to be will come to you, and I struggle with that a little bit. I'm not really. I'm still kind of trying to research into that more on how I feel about that and why. But a lot of people that I'm listening to are expecting it just to happen magically for them instead of realizing maybe it's an accumulation of things as well as um, a little bit of extra effort on our parts to kind of match that
Hmm.
energy that's coming through. I,
Right.
I kind of struggle with it because if it works for other people to believe that way, that's awesome. But for me, it just seems like it's an opportunity to work on things um, and have a little bit better results faster, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I do love, the law of attraction and stuff like that and the concept, but yet it's still a trifecta effect. Like you
Right.
still have your triangle. You have your mind, your body for action, your mind for thought, and then your soul for the emotions, or your heart for the emotions.
Yeah.
All three have to be there. And we still have freedom of choice.
Yeah.
We get to go, hey, I want this, and I want it through this way. And you get to like pick that way and then make those choices every single day until they become a habit. And then as soon as it becomes a habit, the universe is like going, okay, cool, now we're going to give this to you.
Yeah.
Because it's now a habit of your belief. And most
Yeah.
people fall short with their heart emotions and their soul because they don't do the habit long enough. And then each time we quit, it takes even longer to get it. Because the universe is like, really? Because we had it shorter last time and you didn't meet it. So we're going to go a little bit longer to see if you really, really want it this time.
Sure. Yeah.
And so people get frustrated until they decide, hey, this is it. I'm done.
Yeah. I like to say I get tired of my own BS.
Right?
Yeah.
It's really what it is, though, too.
Yeah.
Getting tired of our own BS.
So how do you think that law of attraction, what would be a good explanation for like the times of like this portal and stuff?
So with this portal, pretty much it's basically what I'm getting is that anything you've been working on is going to help move that forward just a little bit faster.
Okay. For me, that translates into work.
So that means also, but it also could mean like if you've been working on like your compassion, because the job you're doing has a lot of compassion.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to open that up tenfold.
That's true. Yeah. I think so. Very much so. Yeah. I was joking this morning. I said, I'm used to working with patients that are very, very cooperative when it's time to take their medicine. They're verbal. There's all these things that I'm spoiled with as a med aid before, and this job is giving me some opportunities to work with a different population,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of understand them differently. And what's interesting is I feel like I've done the work this year because when I went in there, I looked at them and instead of seeing just a person that couldn't do much, I actually saw their spirit, their soul, and
Mm-hmm.
who they really were under all of that. So I think that's going to be the most rewarding thing spiritually, you
Yeah,
know. Whereas
because you got to
before,
remember,
whew,
their soul has not aged.
yeah, and they have different needs, than most people. So I think it's really going to be beneficial, you know,
Right.
even in our the spiritual practice I follow.
Yeah. I mean, because this portal in this month in the age of Aquarius is all about compassion and love.
Perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stepping into all of that.
So then with relationships,
What are those?
right?
And what kind of relationships are you talking about?
Um, Probably our most interpersonal ones that we deal with, you know. Um, I've had a lot of people come to me lately. Um, it's been coming up in my card readings like addictions, you know,
Okay.
of any and all kinds. I'm just hoping this portal is a good time for people that have had that problem to kind of see some relief, see some breakthroughs, I guess.
Right. Yesterday's portal is also all about the twin flame also coming back through.
Oof.
So depending on how you feel about that,
Yeah.
there could be lots of lessons or it could be lots of rejoicing.
Oh yeah, for me it's gonna be a lot of lessons.
For me, okay, so I look at it this way. Okay, so we all know that our twin flame is the other half of our soul. What if, not necessarily in somebody else, but it's there for us to connect with and add into as a higher perspective self? So that way we have both parts again.
That would be a lot better.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Because people here on earth are going to help us, teach us or whatever, no matter what stage we're at.
Hmm.
So why go looking for that twin flame to show us all that?
Right.
People already are doing that.
I think people are waiting, like they almost feel like I'll be happy when I find that twin flame, or I'll be complete finally, or we're already a complete
We are.
being, as is. And I don't think we're going to find that in anybody, because if we're looking for it externally, then we're going to be on to the next best thing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That'll help me in explaining that to people too, because I get asked that a lot. You know.
Yeah. I'm like, what if it's just part of us and we just need to accept it? That's
Yeah.
a whole, like, hey, yeah, I'm this and I'm this, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
We can have our learning moments and our teaching moments.
That
And we can
definitely.
teach ourselves too.
Yeah.
If we're open to our patterns, boy, do we teach ourselves sometimes.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, because I don't want the twin flame to be like a negative dogma, like, oh my God, it's going to come and, we're going to be taught all these lessons because the twin flame is the other half of us. And, well, what if it's the other half is supposed to be just as fun as you are?
Yeah. I feel like I actually encountered that several years back. Um, and I never believed in it until it happened, and then I thought, oh, that's just a little too coincidental to not have something to do with it.
Hmm.
Um, I want to say twin flames can sometimes like almost rip you apart in ways if they're lessons. Like maybe I have that backwards.
Yeah.
For me, it was very much that way. So I was happy to see them come into my life, and I was happy to see them exit just as quickly.
Sometimes they're only here for that quick second. Sometimes they're here a little bit longer,
Yeah,
but depends on where they fall in that tree, what branch they are.
right.
Are they going to break away with a storm or are they going to stay there for the big ones?
Yeah. My experience with that was it was just I thought I was kind of smug because I was kind of still going to church all the time and in ministry and blah blah blah. And I just thought I had my stuff together. And when they showed up, they showed all the parts that I thought had healed that hadn't healed, which sent me into a really bad spiral. But at the end of that spiral, I found a lot of healing and
Mm-hmm.
was able to come back out of that. So I guess in that respect, it's really good. I'm very grateful I didn't meet them on a big portal thing like yesterday. It could have been really ugly. It was bad enough. Oh, so yeah, and
Right?
there's some lessons there that I'm seeing, like relationship patterns, definitely some money patterns, and it's not so much me; it's what I allow in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be just as detrimental as doing it yourself.
Right.
So I think for lessons, that's what I'm dealing with. But as far as like the good stuff, some of my relationships with my children are getting closer. Not that they weren't, but in different ways that you can't really put your finger on.
Right.
And then also the ability. I was asking the universe to help me get back, into the swing of things with work and kind of my lifetime goals there.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, some things lined up that, like extra training for things that I knew I needed to learn, kind of happened. Just things that were really coincidental, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to
Cool.
take time and say thank you for that.
So it was interesting. So the last time I think you were on the show, we were talking, or you and I, and we were talking about maybe the word of the year or whatever, and you said my word needed to be anchor. And it was interesting because then it was like that Friday afterwards that I got offered a job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now we're going to put this into a timeline, right? And I was like, yeah, anchor, that would be a good one. And then like that Friday was like, hey, job opportunity.
Yeah.
We're going to want you to anchor here for a while.
Oh, how funny.
So it was just like going, okay, got it. This is where I'm anchoring.
Right. Man. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly kind of how this job is feeling to me too. Yeah. It's people I've known for a very, very long time. Even my clients, I went to high school with a lot of them. So it's just been I've always prayed that I would have roots in my life and I could anchor in somewhere, and this is the year, it feels like.
Right.
You look deep in thought.
Yeah, work here. Asked me a question if I could go do something, and I'm like going, I would have to be back by noon, so probably not.
Oh,
Um, so yeah. But anyways, I probably need to cut this a little shorter then, so that way I could go talk to powers that be about what's going on.
right.
All right. So it was a great 30-minute show, anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
It was. So you guys, we will see you next week. And we're going to do more of an energy update each week just because I feel like it's more what people want versus
Okay.
talking about how to get through healing and negative kind of stuff. It brings it more into the positive light.
Right.
How to use the energy each week that's going on and what changes and what doesn't and how to move your life forward.
Sounds good.
All right, girl.
See you next time.
We will see you next time.
Okay.